Hi, this is Amy from the ULC Seminary, and I'd like to talk today a little bit about how to find your footing, how to regain your balance when life has kicked you in the teeth. I've been getting a lot of emails from people and phone calls and such, and comments on Facebook about, God, all these things are happening, and just people who are having their equilibrium thrown off. And I know that I've been going through that myself a lot lately, where every time I think things are smoothing along, all of a sudden, whoom, something tries to just sweep my feet out from underneath me. And what I've been finding is that when I can catch my breath for a minute, the way that I've been handling it, it seems to be working, is first of all, take a deep breath and just take a look and see if I am looking for validation or anything related to that from the outside, from outside of myself. Because if something is internalized, like that I know I'm okay, or that I know I'm doing a good job, or that I know this or know that about myself, once I have internalized it, nobody can take it away from me. So when I start to notice that, wow, this is really throwing me for a loop, there's something that is outside of myself that I'm anchoring to. There's something like somebody's validation, somebody's compliment, somebody's negativity, somebody's picture of how things should be done, somebody else's rules, whatever it is, something outside of me that I'm anchoring onto, and either I'm doing it positively or negatively, but it's just something outside that says, I'm going to accept that validation. That's what I noticed for myself. Somebody had, outside of me, had validated me on something that I didn't even realize I was longing for validation about. And when I got it, I went, whoa, I'm all a spin. Okay, wow, I'm finally getting this particular kind of validation. And then, shortly thereafter, that same person went back and said, nope, that's not it, blah, 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 and just pulled the rug out from underneath me. And I went, oh my God, what do I do? I'm all spinning. I went, wait a minute. If I let somebody outside of myself tell me my worth in this area, or validate me in a way that I was not already internalizing, then that puts them in control of whether or not I'm going to accept it, from whether or not it's going to be true, whether or not they're going to yank the rug out from underneath me like was done. And I know that happens to other people. I'm sharing it because some people think, well, this thing only happens to me. Nope, happens to everybody, even people who are paying attention and thinking that they're knowing what's going on sometimes. Like, I thought, I got this dialed in, I'm just internalizing things. Yeah, it's a great surprise to find out when, hey, I did not internalize that about myself. We're often so quick to take in the bad stuff and say, well, I probably talk too much, I'm not busy enough, I'm probably not very good. We're all quick to take that in. But, to validate something positive about ourselves seems to be more difficult to do. One of the things I put out in kind words is take a compliment at face value. Even if somebody does ultimately want something, who cares? You can still take the compliment at face value. Because it's a lot easier to say negative stuff. People are always ready to throw that stuff out there than it is to take a compliment. So when someone does give you a compliment, just accept it. Back to finding your balance, though, look to see where you're looking for or accepting information outside of yourself as your truth. And it's real easy to intellectualize things and just say, well, you're a good person. Oh, okay, well, I'll just take that. In your head, you might say, well, I know I'm a good person. I help other people, or I do this or I do that. But gosh, sometimes taking it to the inside is a whole other can of worms. Taking the validation inside that you're doing a good job, that you have worth and value and whatever else. Maybe that's more difficult to take in. So you might take a look and see where you're looking for it outside of yourself, and then see what you can do to turn that inward. Just acknowledging it often is a good way to go, at least to get started. So go with that and see if you can't find some of that validation that you see outside, and take it in and say, you know what, I'm going to try to internalize that. I'm going to see what happens if I make that true for myself. What can I do? Sometimes you might feel the need to do something, saying if I'm going to feel worthy, then I'm going to set this goal for myself. and make sure that the goal that you set is one that is something you can achieve and is not in somebody else's power to grant. You know, say my goal is to get that job. Well, your goal can be maybe make yourself ready for that job and do everything in your power to make a good impression, but ultimately it's not your decision of whether or not you get hired. So you don't want to give yourself the kind of goals that other people have control over. You can make a goal of, if you're starting your own business, that's all in your own control. You can make that happen. So do things that help you reach those goals and help you internalize the good things about yourself. Look for different ways of doing things. Look for an answer that maybe you didn't even think of before. One of the ways to do that, how can I look for an answer if I don't even know what the question is? Well, put the question out there. What answer am I looking for? What's the question? Please send me the question. I want to hear it. And then pay attention. And you might hear something, you're going, wait a minute, that's something that I'd like to know, or I'd like to be, or I'd like to have, or whatever it is. Just listen for the question, listen for the answer, and see if you can't find a little of that internal balance. I'm Amy from the ULC Seminary, and I'll talk to you later.